Nisha. And how does climate change affect sustainable development? Yes.
Uh, Definitely, ma'am. The climate change is affecting the sustainable development as there are various critical areas where the climate change is affecting, for example, poverty and inequality, where climate change impacts like drought or the flood, which hit the poorest hardest and worsening the poverty and inequality. Also, climate change. The weather is changing with the climate change, which harm the crops yield, leading to the food shortage and the higher prices. Nowadays, we can see the prices of the vegetables and the fruits, they are getting very high. So, this is all because of the climate change. Also, the health. Rising temperature increases heat related illness and expand the spread of the diseases, where heat stroke is one of them which we have seen recently. Many of the laborers, they are working hard in the heat in the sun and they are getting heat stroke. So the rising temperature is one of the impact of this climate change. Also, biodiversity which is getting reduced, there is loss of species and the ecosystem is degrading, so affecting all the vital services like pollination and the carbon sequestration. Energy is also affecting as the rise of demand of cooling strains are increasing. So this, because of this, there is an effect of the global warming. So climate change is threatening both the environment and the human development, which undermining effort to create a fair, stable and sustainable future for all. So this is a very important topic or the need of the hour which we need to discuss. The climate change is affecting so much for the human and the environment.
Well said, Dr. Nisha. Okay, so it was all about SDG warm up and why it is important and why we are talking about it in terms of education system. So let's take this journey ahead with this wonderful question that how can educators incorporate climate change into their teaching? So that is what I was asking you before as well, that how to motivate teachers. So this is coming in formal in front of you, and this is for Ms. Surichi, that how I can incorporate this climate change, among educators into their teaching.
First of all, an educator needs to be well informed about what changes are taking place. And similarly, he or she needs to talk about this in the classroom.
Yes.
I'll add up to this by saying a very famous quote by Mr. Barack Obama, that we are the first generation to feel the impact of climate change and we are the last generation to do something about this. So I need to create, as an educator, I and we all need to create an awareness, especially in the young children, that whatever changes you feel is normal to you, that is the change that we are feeling since we are growing up. The change is for the previous generation also, but for you might not be, because when we tell you our stories, you'll get to know that the climate change is now taking place is not normal. That is the effect, that is the result of human activities. So we are the ones who can save the coming generations from this. So we all need to integrate the SDG, this particular SDG, because all other SDGs get impacted by this one particular climate action. So climate change is a very important thing to, a very important topic to be aware of and to educate people who are not aware of. So children, if they start at their own level by creating awareness in their local communities, at their home first, of course, but in local communities, if they can create awareness, taking help of the teachers, that would be the very first step to go ahead. And the teachers can also motivate them to take action at their own level by creating, as I would agree with Veena ma'am, by creating posters and all. So these are the first steps. Secondly, a teacher can integrate other subjects along in her own subject. Integrated curriculum can be created to spread awareness about SDG.
Wonderful. So I was sitting with few of my friends yesterday, and we were all talking about life skills. And when we are talking about life skills, we first of all talk about self awareness. So that self awareness is something to know your surroundings first of all, and yourself in your surroundings. So if I'm sitting out here and I do not know about my surroundings, then in that case I won't be able to evaluate myself as well. Where I am sitting, I don't know where I am sitting, what is my surrounding. Then I will be questioned whether I know about me perfectly or not, because I am living in this world and my self awareness is somewhere in a pinch related to my surroundings as well, right? So, surroundings, your surroundings should be healthy. And if your surroundings are changing due to this climatic changes, then somewhere it is a life skill to incorporate in the students to understand their surroundings, to understand self awareness, to understand how to help nature, to understand how to take good decisions, to understand how to manage emotions, and to understand to have effective communication related to this topic as well. Wonderful. So we have talked about blended learning. We talked about art integration. We are talking about, generating this thought to others as well, and motivating teachers to talk about this topic to the students in detail as well. Okay, so now I'm quickly coming to Miss Veena. How can individuals stay informed about climate change? So this is the question. So please put some light on it. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah. So, as an individual, to know things and to update ourselves about this climate change and the action, like if we actually, there's no option that if we need to participate, but we have to compulsorily be part of this action which needs to be taken to ensure that the climate change is reversed. So how we can take care of this? Like first thing is about like depending upon certain newsletters which are reliable newsletters. Then talking about like scientific journals which are published by the government and NGOs that can be checked upon. Watching documentaries which are nowadays are available on YouTube as well, and not just depending upon one source but multiple sources. So talking about like as an individual, we can also go for attending webinars, going for other like it can be online, it can be offline, taking up the apps nowadays which are available through app stores on the mobile. That is climate app. You have carbon footprint app which calculates a carbon footprint. Then participating in local initiatives, that is like wherever you are living, and there if they are taking part in certain actions which is going to help in reversing the climate change. Obviously, one should take part, one should be very active in that, and volunteer with the NGOs. Like you can, or we can, as an individual, volunteer in these kind of activities. Then policies and the advocacy, like talking about what government is doing. We as a person should also raise our voice when there is something, to be done with regards to the climate action, what government is doing and what they should do. When we raise our voice, obviously it makes the change, or it is actually then marked. So that is how, as an individual, we can take part in this, or we can contribute in this climate change action.
Wonderful. Well said, Veena ma'am. I want to add on to this question a little more, that you were talking about certain apps. So, can you please repeat or please add one liner to these apps so that the viewers or the teachers who are listening to this webinar should understand how they can take, advantage from these apps?
Right. I'll just explain this. Climate app or carbon footprint app, calculators, there are various apps. If you browse on the App Store of your mobile, you'll find multiple applications available. You can download one. And I was reading it's this, I think it's Prachi from Bangalore or Mumbai. She has, like, it is indigenous to India. It's very proud to mention this. This girl, a small girl of graduation, has made an app which helps us to calculate carbon footprint. Now we are very clear with, like, whatever we are using while the process of the making the product is happening, carbon is being emitted. So this calculation can be done. And when we're using those things at home, like if I have a pen in my hand, I'm using. So to make this, it was made in a factory. To make this, electricity was used. To make this, petroleum must have been used. This is plastic. So again, something has been used. So multiple products have been used. And to make all of these, some kind of like at every level, you can say the carbon has been emitted. So this is one thing which I am using. I have a mobile in my hand. This is also has been made in factory. So I get up, I eat. I then there are, like, you name it, list is very long. So come just making it short. Everything which we are using for making of that product, carbon has been emitted. So we list, and there is an app which is going to take down, like, how many kilometers you were on a car, then how, what you did you eat, it was in like it was non-veg or veg. Accordingly, it is going to assign carbon contribution, your carbon contribution to the nature, and then it is going to tell you, okay, today's your contribution in terms of carbon has been this much. So, and it is also going to suggest you how to reduce it. So this is first thing, the calculator, carbon footprint calculator. It will tell you that today how much carbon footprint you have created, you have generated, and is also going to suggest, like, for example, every day my running is 20 kilometers. After that, 5 kilometers is for a local running, which I can substitute with the help of bikes, like bicycle. So this 5 kilometers can be reduced. So again, like next day, if I do this, if I take this action, and next day, instead of going 20 kilometers, I go for 15 kilometers by car and 5 by my cycle. Now the carbon footprint has been reduced. So this is how the app is going to help us understand how much carbon footprint we have generated, and also help us in reducing it.
Oh, that's wonderful, ma'am. Even I'm thinking of to do this. Yeah, really, it's really enlightening, and it's a wonderful, information. And I hope the viewers are understanding that this is something can be done on individual level. Okay, so I'm quickly moving for the next one. That is for Dr. Nisha. What are the consequences of not taking action on climate change? Yes.
So, ma'am, the consequences of not taking action on the climate change are severe, wide ranging, and will impact nearly every aspect of the life on the earth. So, if we are doing nothing, our planet could heat up to 3 to 4 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. This might not sound like much, but think about this. A few degrees difference in what separate an ice age from warm, thriving planet we live on today. Also, extreme weather events like heat waves will become more intense, storms more destructive, floods more frequent, and there are loss of biodiversity as well. As we know, every species play a very important role in maintaining the balance of our ecosystem. But due to this climate change, threaten to drive nearly 1 million species to extinction. So, is that the legacy we want to leave on the next generation? I hope no. We all want our next generation to get all these resources which we are having. That is all about SDG we are talking today. So, I think the consequences may not be good, they will worsen. So, if we fail to take the action on the climate change, we face a future of more extreme weather, economic collapse, widespread displacement, and loss of the biodiversity. The longer we delay, the more costly and difficult it will be manageable for us. So the consequences are not just environment, but also the human survival, well-being, and the global security all will get affected. So this is the time we need to take the action. This is the hour, this is the right time where we all have to stand up for this climate change. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Wonderful. So I want two more panelists to put some light on this question as it is our last question. And it was a wonderful panel discussion where we got so many answers and wonderful solutions for the queries which we usually get from teachers. So any two of the panelists want to contribute for this question, that what will be the consequence of not taking action on climate change?
Like it is, this was a quote given by Suruchi ma'am. Like if we don't do it now, we won't be. Even I was checking this. Like 30 years from now, we won't be able to help in the climate change reversal. If we do not wake up now, we will not be able to help, because situation will be such that we won't be able to help in the reversal of climate change. So we have to be very active now. We have to be aware ourselves. We have to make our surrounding, people living in the surrounding, aware about it, and the consequences as such already been put up. But majorly, like the countries, there are the countries which are very small island countries which are going to submerge. We know it is going to be glaciers melting, sea level rising, and then the countries which are island countries, they will get submerged. Even we will not be spared, because we have three sides sea. So our we are also going to lose our coastal areas. And if the climate changes, it is going to be like some areas which are now having, say, rainfall, we might get converted into a desert also, because of this change in the climate. So, as a whole, the whole earth is actually going to see the repercussion of the human beings' intervention with the nature. Because if we are not taking care, and this rate of can say carbon emission, and not only carbon emission, other harmful gases which we are throwing in the atmosphere continues, then obviously we will reach a stage when we will say ki, no, now it cannot be reversed. We will have to bear the repercussions.
True. Well said. So I believe there is no other heaven, as we already living in heaven. So we should take care of this live heaven in which we are living. We should not think of another heaven, because there is no another heaven out there. Okay, so thank you so much to all the lovely panelists we had today. And I believe all the viewers who are watching this webinar will get wonderful solutions for their classrooms as well, for their own lesson plans too, for their teaching learning process as well. And at last, I would like to thank all the participants for such an enlightening session. Thank you so much to every one of you.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so